So, this is Kahleah Copper. This is one of the best players in the world right now, and a not quite MVP candidate because there's only one MVP candidate, but not too far off. In this video, we're going to be talking about the politics of Team USA and when politics goes wrong. Before we get on to, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We're trying to hit 28,850 by the end of the day, and we are 4 subscribers off. So, when we're talking about politics, why are we talking about Kahleah Copper? Kahleah Copper has been the victim of team politics, which is Team USA. There have been a lot of victims, and there's a long list of them. Whether we talk about Enrique Agumbawale, whether we talk about Skylar Diggins-Smith, whether we're talking about Ariel Atkins, Aaliyah Boston, Bree Jones, Natasha Cloud, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. They were all victims of the fact that USA picked their team based on politics rather than picking the best players possible. And you might be saying, oh, it makes no difference that they did that. Oh, the Dream Team picked a team based on politics. Yeah, the Dream Team was as much a show team as anything. Other teams were asking the Dream Team for autographs. That's not happening nowadays. Whether it's men's or women's basketball, that's not happening. And Team USA in the women's. In the men's, you saw what if the men's were really picking a team based on we're going to allow older players that maybe aren't at the level, quite at the level to play. We're going to let people on the team that we don't necessarily think are at the level to play. They wouldn't have cut Kawhi Leonard. At this level, not only do you have to be ruthless, you have to be ruthless sometimes out of being fair to your own players. And we saw what happens when politics goes wrong in that game yesterday. Because we saw, you might look at the score sheet of that game. You might look at the scoreboard and think, Kahleah Copper played a load of minutes. Kahleah Copper played 11 minutes in that game. She played more minutes than Jewel Lloyd. She played more minutes than Breanna. She played more minutes than, well, not Taurasi. But she did not get on until they were up 30 points at the end of the game. And it's not only that she didn't get on. When she did get on, the first thing she did was shoot a three-pointer. And the second the ball left her hands, very, very loudly, just screamed, please. This is one of the most confident scorers in the WNBA. Has lost every bit of their confidence and is praying that they make a shot. And then you can see, whether it be on the bench, whether it's on the floor, there is a level of frustration there that comes with seeing your teammate and 42-year-old Diana Taurasi starting most games, and if not, she's coming off the bench early. She's there coming off the bench early, and you're sitting on the bench. And that's why, in a way, I'm really happy that Caitlin Clark didn't go. I'm happy that Caitlin Clark was not on the Olympic team, because they would have sat her on the end of the bench. And they would have sat her on the end of the bench so that they could play. Their point guard is averaging 0.8 points per game, 0.8 rebounds per game, and 5 assists per game because she had 13 in one of them. Other than the 13 game, 3, 2, 4. So other than the game against the Japan team, if you take away the Japan team, should not have been at these Olympics, who were a joke, as much as they worked hard, and let's give credit to them, the standard that they were at was so poor. Like, they were by far the worst team in the Olympics. They lost every game, lost games by an average of like nearly 30. But outside of that game, she's averaging, 0.3 points? A couple of rebounds? Or not a couple of rebounds, 1 rebound and 3.5 assists a game? Other than that game? She'd be still the starting point guard no matter what. Because, we have to politic the point guard in the team. And I think that would lead to the frustration. And it makes sense now why Team USA didn't bring Caitlin Clark. When they said, Caitlin Clark's not going to play that many minutes. And that was what they said. Caitlin Clark's not going to play that many minutes when we're worried about her fans. Would she have played not that many minutes based on merit? No. She wouldn't have played that many minutes based on politics. And a lot of people saying that Caitlin Clark being on the team for viewership is essentially politics in the other way. No. Like, she would have been on the team on merit. The reason she's not on the team is because of politics. And we're seeing it firsthand what's happening when the third best player on this team. And you might be saying, oh, but she's not been performing like third best player. Yeah, sorry. She's been performing like their 5th best player. Because she was really good. When they played Germany, She had 7 points in as many minutes and played lockdown defense. This is a team that needs athleticism. They need toughness. And they're sitting one of their toughest, most athletic players on the bench. And do you want to know the funniest part about this is that Kahleah Copper was also politicked out of the last Olympics team. Do you know who the 2021 Finals MVP was? Kahleah Copper. Do you know who wasn't on the 2021 Olympics team? Kahleah Copper. She wasn't. She was not on the Olympics team. And everyone talking about how, they needed to, you need to earn it, you need to do all this, do all that. I mean, I'm pretty sure being one of the best players in the world was earning it. But clearly Team USA didn't think so. Clearly Team USA in the 2020 Olympics didn't think that so. So, yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. And she has been the prime example of it. Because again, even in 2021, when Diana Taurasi was on this team, averaging 5.8 points per game, Diana Taurasi was not an all-star in the WNBA. Kahleah Copper was finals MVP for the Chicago Sky. She not only, in her career, she has not made teams based on politics. And she's sat her ass on the bench because of politics in this Olympics. This is what happens when politics goes wrong. And it's not even as bad leaving a player at home. Because there's always the debate of whether a player should go, whether a player should stay. And it's not even a Tatum situation. Because with Tatum, he's competing with LeBron James. He's competing with Kevin Durant. He's competing with Anthony Edwards as that wing scorer position. He's competing with Devin Booker. Kahleah Copper is competing with a 42-year-old Diana Taurasi. They both play on the same team. And Kahleah Copper is their all-world superstar. Diana Taurasi, you can argue, is their fourth best player. So, you can see the frustration. You can see why players that are suffering from the politics of the whole situation are extremely frustrated. And you can now see why they didn't bring a Enrique. They didn't bring players that would have been frustrated by sitting on the end of the bench. Because it's one thing sitting on the end of the bench if you're there by merit. I don't think the frustration would be as bad if she was backing up Jackie Young. And let's just say Jackie Young and Breanna were hooping. And she was backing up them. There'd be some frustration there. But there wouldn't be the same amount of frustration as, instead of her being at her rightful position, one of the first 3 players off the bench, she needs to back up the person who is in her rightful position in Diana Taurasi for political reasons. And it's one thing to bring someone, like bringing a Lauren Jackson if you're Australia, to just put on the end of the bench and not really play her, and wasting a roster spot in politics. It's one thing to waste a roster spot in politics, but it's another thing to waste a spot in the rotation. Not only one spot, waste 2 spots in the rotation on politics. And Team USA is showing that this is what can happen when politics goes wrong. And it's being shown not in the Caitlin Clark snub, not in the Enrique snub, but what is happening with Kahleah Copper, who is one of the best players in the world at these Olympics.